who will showcase their public speaking skills and creativity. They have worked hard to prepare the speeches, and we are excited to hear them. Guidelines for the elocution contest are as follows. Participants will be present a prose based on theme for this year's contest. Time allotted 4+1 minutes. A warning bell will be rung at the end of the 4th minute, followed by a final bell at the end of the 5th minute. Participants using less or more than the allotted time will be penalized. Postures for elocutionists: standing straight with hands behind one's back. Excessive use of hands gestures and exaggerated dramatizations will not be permitted. Participants will be judged on pronunciation, memorization, and expressions, as well as confidence. Ladies and gentlemen, our first contestant, Swajot Kotak, will be elocuting the short story, My Greatest Olympic Prize, by Jesse Owens, a famous American athlete. He narrates a deeply personal and inspiring incident from the 1936 Berlin Olympics in his autobiographical piece, My Greatest Olympic Prize. The event highlights not only the spirit of sportsmanship, but also the triumph of human friendship over racial prejudice and political propaganda.
My Greatest Olympic Prize by Jesse Owens. It was the summer of 1936 and the Olympic Games were being held in Berlin. Nationalistic feelings were at an all-time high, but I wasn't too worried about all that. I trained, sweated, and disciplined myself for 6 years with the Games in mind. I had my eye especially on the running broad jump. A year before, as a sophomore at Ohio State University, I'd set the world's record at 26 feet and 8¼ inches. Everyone kind of expected me to win that event hands down, but I was in for a surprise. When the time came for the broad jump trials, I saw a tall boy hitting the pit at almost 26 feet on his practice leaps. He turned out to be a German named Lars Long. I guessed that if Long won, it would add some new support to the Nazis' Aryan superiority theory. After all, I am a Negro. I was determined to go out there and really show their father and his master race who was really superior and who wasn't. But an angry athlete will make mistakes, as any coach will tell you. I was no exception. On the first of my 3 qualifying jumps, I leaped from several inches beyond the takeoff board for a foul. On the second jump, I fouled even worse. Walking away from the pit, I kicked disgustedly at the dirt. Suddenly, I felt a hand on my shoulder, and I turned to look into the friendly blue eyes of that tall German broad jumper. Jesse Owens, I'm Russ Law. I don't think we've met. He spoke English well, though with a German twist to it. Nice to meet you, I said. Then I asked, how are you? I am fine. The question is, how are you? What do you mean? I asked. Well, something must be eating you, he said. You should be able to jump far enough to qualify with your eyes closed. Believe me, I know it. And it felt good to say that to someone. For the next few minutes, we talked together. And although I found out that Lars had been schooled in the Nazi youth movement, he didn't believe in the Aryan supremacy business any more than I did. We laughed over the fact that he really looked the part, though. An inch taller than I, he had a lean, muscular frame, clear blue eyes, blonde hair, and a strikingly handsome, chiseled face. Finally, seeing that I had calmed down somewhat, he pointed to the takeoff board. Look, he said, why don't you draw a line a few inches in back of the board and aim at making you jump from there? You should be able to jump far enough to qualify. Suddenly, all the tension seemed to ebb out of my body, as the truth of what he said hit me. Confidently, I drew a line a full foot in back of the board and aimed at making my jump from there. I qualified with almost a foot to spare. That night, I walked over to Lars Long's room in the Olympic Village to thank him. I I knew that if it hadn't been for him, I probably wouldn't be jumping in the finals the following day. We sat in his quarters and talked for who knows how long. And by the time I got up to leave, we both knew that a real friendship had been formed. Lars would go out to the field the next day trying to beat me if he could. But I knew that he wanted me to do my best, even if it meant my winning. As it turned out, Lars broke his own pass record, and in doing so, he pushed me onto a peak performance. I remember that the instant I landed from my final jump, the one which set the Olympic record at 26 feet and 5 by 16 inches, he was at my side, congratulating me. You can melt down all the gold medals and cups I had, and they couldn't be a plating on the 24-carat friendship I felt for Lars Long at that moment. I realized then too that Lars was the epitome of what Pierre de Coubertin, founder of the modern Olympic Games, must have had in mind when he said, the importance of the Olympic Games is not winning, but taking part. The essential thing in life is not conquering, but fighting well.